So phase one is humans are still like on the point of work. There's human sellers selling to human buyers. It's just that all the other stuff is really extracted out. And one is getting selling time from 25% to 75%. Phase two is the seller becomes an AI agent. And we're starting to see some companies that are experimenting with this. Phase three is the buyer becomes an AI agent.
So it's AI sellers selling to AI buyers.
Now we get into the kind of Star Trek world.
All right, Mark, AI is completely reshaping go-to-market. And a lot of people are eager to jump ahead to the I do nothing, AI does everything stage. But how do you think through AI and go-to-market today?
This is where my current hypothesis is, Matthew, is one of the challenges with these predictions is figuring out how far and on what timeline humans are extracted from today's point of work. That's the way I think about it. And if we look at that in go-to-market, you've got humans on the phone or on Zoom or in person selling to other humans. That's like the front line of go-to-market. Just in the sales side, we have customer support, success. We've got marketers doing campaigns. That's the current point of work. And so I'm going to propose 4 phases of extraction from today's point of work. So phase one is humans are still like on the point of work. There's human sellers selling to human buyers. It's just that all the other stuff is really extracted out. Like, you know, believe it or not, there's a concept called selling time. Do you even know what that is?
No.
Guess, like
how much time you're spent actually like on the phone and email?
Exactly. Look at you.
Genius.
Guess what the industry average is?
60%?
25.
Way off.
That's probably actually good. Like, I see like Stevie Case at Vanta, we've done some things together, and I think she kind of brags that they've gotten it close to 40. And that's like world class. That's crazy. The average team, 25% of their time is actually selling.
What are they doing the rest of it?
They're like preparing for the meeting, doing their forecast review with their manager, reading up on the company, updating the CRM, putting together the demo, like, you know, just all the back office stuff.
You can say
And so that's what we're in right now. We're entering that. I think 2026 is going to be a massive year for that. And I think there's 2 exciting metrics to measure our progress on phase one. And one is getting selling time from 25% to 75%.
Wow.
Very possible. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is we have an opportunity to get more efficient on the frontline manager level. So any guesses what the average sales rep to manager ratio is on a sales team? I'll just throw it out there. What do you think?
I'd probably say 5.
Yeah, for an outside team, that's closer because outside teams are more complicated. Like when, you know, HubSpot, you know, I used to manage toward like an 8-to-1 because it was like, you know, inside sales, you're just like all sitting around together. It's a little more efficient. You know, in this phase, we can push it to 20-to-1.
Wow.
That's gonna be cool. So that's kind of phase one, and we can walk through the details. So today we're talking about phase one, a sequence of agents. You don't actually need to invest significant dollars to take advantage of these. The team put together an AI agent kit that you can get up and running for your team in minutes, and guides for building even more robust agents using free versions of ChatGPT, Claude, or your favorite LLM. They're trained on your methodology, battle cards, and product data. This is not one size fits all. This is a free resource using free tools that you can get started with today. No excuses. Check the link in the description now. Phase two is the seller becomes an AI agent. And we're starting to see some companies that are experimenting with this. HubSpot's actually experimenting with it.
The sales rep
is
gone.
Yeah.
The human sales rep is gone.
Human. And you're starting to see some of this in like PLG funnels because the bar's so low. Like, I mean, if you're like going to like Notion and downloading Notion, you're basically dealing with a set of like screens. You like download it. It'd be way better just to like talk. Hey, I want Notion. Great. Like, what do you need it for? And let me configure it. Like, just talk to someone. That's super possible now. And then pretty soon, I think we'll see like SMB sales done there. The problem is like in a lot of like Zoom and Teams, there's a massive latency and it doesn't feel human. But I think we'll get there, maybe even next year. And then phase three is the buyer becomes an AI agent.
So it's AI sellers selling to AI buyers.
Now we get into the kind of Star Trek world.
Are you a Star Trek guy?
No, not really. I'm not. But it's however you want to conceptualize that. What do you think about that? Like, we're not going to spend too much time on it because it's like it's so far off.
Yeah,
but like
it's the fun part to think about.
Yeah,
this is what I've thought about this, and you can tell me how far off I am or whatever. I think things become a lot more volatile and like a lot less predictable because like if I'm a human, I'm having conversations with the human buyer, I can like get a sense of like I think these people are going to churn in like 6 months, 3 months, whatever, or like just word on like the street of what the adoption is for my product. I have like a better sense of that and kind of predict further out. If it's just straight up like AI seller to AI buyer, it's once it hits 1 to 3 key metrics, they sell and they're gone.
I probably see it differently on whether humans or AI will be able to predict like the churn or whether they'll close or not. Maybe today. That would be interesting. We're starting to do this. We're starting to like request our portfolio companies. They all have in their board deck like the deals they lost and why, and the deals that churned and why. And it's a terrible report because you know how it got put together. Like the buyers told the salespeople why they didn't buy, which was a total lie. It was because they hated the salesperson or whatever, but they didn't tell them. Oh, it's like, and then the salesperson told their manager, which was a total lie, and the manager told the VP, which is a total lie, and the VP told the CRO, which is a lie, and the CRO told the CEO, which is a lie, and the CEO told the board. I mean, it's like so watered down of a telephone game, and we're asking them to continue to give us that report, but on the next slide, tell us what the AI said. So what did the humans say on why we lost deals, and what did the AI say on why we lost deals? What do the humans say on what we're going to do next quarter, and what does the AI say? And more than half the time, the AI is winning right now. So I think it's going to get really good. I think my point there, Matthew, is I don't know if I see tremendous data evidence that a human is going to be able to tell if someone's going to buy or churn more than AI. Because AI can look at so many things that we can't even look at as they analyze the call. So I kind of feel like when AI buyers are buying from AI sellers, sales just becomes like really honest. What happens today is 100 people, all with political views, contribute to that RFP, and then someone goes out and makes a decision. And sometimes that decision is based more on like who went to the cool golf course or the best steak dinner, or who got along as friends, as opposed to like what was the best purchase. So I think hypothetically in phase 3, we could just have really good purchases and selling that work because you're taking all the human element out.
All right. And now I don't want to jump ahead or anything, but my feeling is once that happens, what does that do for the rest of like all of the different teams inside of an organization? If all that's taken care of.
That's a bigger story about like, there's lots of debates out there as to, one debate is that there was massive paranoia in the advent of every innovation cycle, whether it's mass production in the late 1800s or electricity in the early 1900s or the first computer wave in the mid 1900s. Everyone was like, all the jobs are gonna go away and more jobs were created. So like there's a view there that they just massively change. And I think we're seeing evidence of that. It'll dramatically change and elevate where we operate as humans, where we're more like driving the algorithm as opposed to doing the selling. And that leads to the 4th phase, which is like, and this gets us super Star Trek-y, which is like the functional boundaries of the organization. The functional boundaries of the organization start to significantly blur. Okay, because like when we picture a company today, you've got a finance team, you've got a go-to-market team, sales team, you've got an R&D team like engineering product, you've got an HR team. That design is basically due to human limitation. Like you don't see a lot of people that get a master's in finance that go write code, and you don't see a lot of people that get a master's in computer science that go be CFO. Like these are limitations to like our capacity to learn, and they're not optimal. Like there's a lot of inefficiencies to an organization because product doesn't have the sales data and finance doesn't have the sales data and finance doesn't have the product data. It's like these alignment issues occur, and this can change in AI. But just to summarize, phase 1 is human sellers sell to human buyers, and AI just makes that way more productive, measured by selling time. Phase 2 is AI is selling, humans are still buying. Phase 3 is AI is selling and buying. And phase 4 is our concept of functions potentially go away.
In these, what phase would you say like we're in right now?
Yeah, we're about to enter phase one.
Okay.
Like we're in the beginning of phase one. Like I don't think I'm seeing a lot of like, oh, selling time's gone up to 50% but this is 2026 is going to be the year. I have like pretty deep hypotheses on two, what would we call these? Operational motions, I suppose. One is on the demand gen side and one is on the conversion of demand into customers. Okay. The other piece that I think is very cool is processing the meetings, turning into customers. Remember, we still have human sellers. When a meeting gets booked, so now we have a meeting with Genzyme, we have a meeting with Patty, the director of marketing. There's an agent that's pre-trained with the entire sales methodology, with the entire product information, with the entire competitive battle cards. And it goes out and reads everything about Genzyme in the last decades and everything about Patty. And it customizes the optimal first meeting with them and stands up a buyer agent that the seller can practice with. So that's like massive selling time assistance right there. Then there's an agent that attends the meeting. And as Patty's talking, we're no longer assuming we get facts. The agent's coaching the rep. That's what good managers do. They'll attend and they'll like slack the rep. You should ask this next. Tell this story next. Look, show this case study. The agent's just coaching the rep on what to do. And then after the meeting, the agent handles all of the post-mortem account updates, the CRM, the forecast, the demo script, the follow-up email, all the stuff, and then also updates the salesperson's skill growth. Like, hey, Matthew, good job. That was the 27th meeting I've seen you do this quarter, and you have popped up to a 7.1 on sense of urgency development. That's awesome. But you're still only at 2.6 on champion development. And I've customized a 7-minute tutorial for you to watch and try to get certified. The next time you're in an Uber, you should watch this. And then it also sees the general performance of the team and updates the methodology to stay at pace. So that's like a cool sequence of agents that will maximize the close rate on these meetings and also significantly drive up the selling time. That's all I got so far. My name's Mark Roberge, and this is the Science of Scaling.
Happy scaling.
Happy scaling.